Dr. Dan here. I get a lot of questions about people asking me what platform should they use for their website or for creating a blog. Some people don't even know what the heck a blog is. So when I tell them they should create a blog, they're like, what the heck is that? So I'm going to kind of just go over that real quickly. I'm going to try and keep this under 10 minutes because my own attention span, I know you guys are busy and have things to do. So my goal is to keep it under 10 minutes. I'm just going to go briefly, really quickly, just what a blog is and how you can actually create your own blog real quickly. I'm going to give you some examples and what to use and what not to use, what to stay away from. And this is very, very important, okay? So go ahead and listen up, and I'm going to show you some screenshots right now, and let's go ahead and go to my computer. All right. Computer, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple quick things. Again, I want to keep this under 10 minutes, so I'm going to kind of breeze through it real quick, and I promise to have some more content up for you guys to take you through the steps and do some other really, really cool things. So I promise to give you guys a lot of amazing content. So be sure to check back this, to check back my blog site, to check out my tips and Facebook, my fan pages, and things like that. And again, I promise to give you some really, really just great tips and tools and things that you can implement right away in your own business. And again, this is, whether you have a business and your business is to let's say you're a realtor, or let's say you're a mortgage professional, or let's say you own a restaurant, you're a local business like an art gallery, or even if you're a plumber, it doesn't really matter. Even if you have a personal training business, or if you're in a band and you're trying to come up, online and that kind of thing. So and you're trying to promote yourself. So go ahead and listen up, and let's go ahead and go through this stuff. So all right, so we're going fast, and that's why I'm going to talk fast. And first off, what is a blog site? And we're going to go and compare that to a Flash and cookie cutter sites and those kind of sites that you see on the web. And again, those are HTML sites, static sites, stagnant sites, whatever you want to call it. Those are the traditional websites that you'd actually pay like a web designer or somebody like that. And what they would do is they would, design you a website. It cost you anywhere from $1,000 to 10, 20, 30. I've even heard people spending as much as $100,000 plus for a website. Well, the problem is Google doesn't really like those kind of sites because they're stagnant. They basically tell Google that there's not going to be new information being updated constantly. And again, I don't want to go through all that because that's a whole different, that takes me like 30 minutes to go through in a seminar if you've been to one of my seminars or workshops or events or anything like that. So what is a blog? A blog is the contraction of the two terms, web and log. And again, this is something that I wish they would change this because I know what a blog is, but most people are like, what's a blog? It just doesn't make any sense. But you can kind of see right there on this screenshot right here of what basically a blog is. And again, I forgot where I got this definition. I think it was like definition.com or Wikipedia or something like that. Blogger actually has a pretty cool explanation of it. They're a little bit more hip on that. So they're basically saying it's a diary, basically a collaborative space where it's your political soapbox, basically where you want to tell people about anything that's going in your life or, in your guys' case, your business. And again, you could talk about your life. It just depends on what your business is and how personal you want to get on there. For my businesses, even though I'm doing B2B, business to business type stuff, I still talk about my family. I post pictures. I do all kinds of cool stuff like that because it makes you really, really personable. And people can relate to you. And if they relate to you, they like to do business with you. And again, this is going to be your own personal preference. I hear people all the time saying, stick to business and, keep it really dry and bland, but I'm not about that. And again, if you go to one of, my events and I talk about branding, I'm going to go over all this kind of stuff and, I'll probably change your mind on that. But again, it's totally up to you. So I'm not telling people to tell them when you're sitting in the restroom or anything like that, or, what's going on with your health issues or anything like that. So again, I'm not telling you to do that. All right, so a blog site versus, a WordPress site. So WordPress, first off, Google loves WordPress, so I'm not even going to talk about the other sites. It just makes no sense. I'm not even going to really compare them. I'm going to show you a couple examples, but again, I'm not going to go into too many comparables with them because, hopefully you just take my word for it because Google loves WordPress sites. If you do a search for certain, key terms or keywords or phrases, a lot of times, most of the time, you'll actually see a lot of WordPress sites coming up, especially if people have actively been using them. Also, WordPress has thousands of free plugins, and what plugins are is they're like plugins, widgets, things that you can actually implement into your blog that normally you'd have to hire, a coder, somebody to, or a programmer. You'd have to hire somebody and pay him hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to create something so your site would do a specific thing. Like let's say you put in, give me your name and email, and I'll send you this free ebook or whatever. And there's plugins for that, free plugins that you just insert your account details and it'll plug it into that. One thing that I'm using a lot now is the Facebook comment system. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's a plugin. And what it does is just, insert in a couple different things and the plugin activates, and then you can actually have people comment directly on their wall, on their Facebook wall, which is super powerful. And I don't really see anybody using this technique or this tool that came out back in, I think it was November or December, and I just started using it myself, and it's amazing. Also, it's constantly updated, so you can make changes and things like that, which is really, really cool. Also, you can change you can make changes, add pages, blog posts, and do even more with ease. So it's really cool, because before, if you hired a web designer to create your site, anytime you wanted to make a change on that page, and I had to do this myself, it is so tedious and time consuming. Basically, you'd be in with your editor, so you had to have this editor, and you had to go in there and you had to manipulate it and change things and whatever you wanted to do, depending on the editor you were using. It could be very, very difficult if you're using and I don't even remember the names of them because I don't use them anymore. But so it'd take you a long time to do that. And then after you're done, you had to save the changes, and then you had to export it back up to your server and wait it for your server to accept the changes and make all those changes. So it was a very, very tedious process. If you want to make one change, it could take you anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes uploading it back on your server. Whereas with the WordPress site, you just log into the control panel, click on the page, type in the changes you want to make, whether you can use HTML or what you get widget. I don't know if they call that a widget, but you can just make the changes real quick, and then boom, you're done. You just hit submit, and it's done. So heck of a lot faster. So I definitely recommend using that. Also, some things to keep in mind, and I'm going to show you an example. Do not use free blog sites like WordPress.com or Blogger for your main content site. Now, notice I'm not saying don't use them at all, but I am saying don't use them as your main content site. A lot of people get lazy because they think, people have told them to use this and they're very powerful, and they are. But the problem is you have zero control over it, and usually, a lot of times, it's against the terms of service, the TOS. And actually, even if it's not against their terms of service, they can delete your entire site without any warning. So if you don't back it up, and I don't even remember if you can back it up easily or not, because I haven't used those platforms in a couple of years because of this, they can completely, and I've heard some people tell me they've deleted their sites, and it really, really sucks because you lose everything that you have. And you lose everything if you haven't backed it up. Also, they don't look very professional, and they have way too many limitations. And, again, I'm not even going to go too much into it because it'd be just a waste of time, and hopefully you'll just take my word for it. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you who's using WordPress, because a lot of times your designer will tell you not to use WordPress. You should create your own, website or something like that. And some designers are actually getting smart on that. And when I tell my clients, I'm like, hey, you should use WordPress. They're like, oh, that's a great idea. And they want to redesign their whole website, but then they talk to their web designer who created their last website for thousands of dollars, and their designer says, yeah, you should use WordPress, and I'll do it for you. But they don't really know what they're doing. They end up messing it up. And again, the whole goal is the whole thing that I want to really push on you is that, or for you to understand and take away from this, is if your designer or if the person that originally talked to you didn't tell you should use WordPress, then why would you go to them later on and tell them to do a WordPress site for you? If they were the expert in that, they would have told you to do that in the first place. So what I'm going to do right now is show you, this is actually a site that I went to, and it has 21 of the popular brands that are using WordPress. And this is back in 2009, so there's a heck of a lot more, but I didn't want to spend too much time looking for sites that actually went over this. So again, eBay's using WordPress blog platform. Yahoo's using it, Dig's using it, Ford, Wall Street Journal, Sony, People Magazine, Samsung, PlayStation, New York Times, Wired, Mozilla. I'm only down to 13. CNN. I'm just going to kind of scroll through Ben & Jerry's and only point out the ones that I like, General Electric. So you can see there's a heck of a lot of people that are actually using WordPress. So if it's good enough for them, why isn't it good enough for you, Here's another one. These are actually celebrities. I forgot to go to the top for you. So we got Kim Kardashian, Kate Perry, Live Strong. Again, that's a brand. Andy Roddick, Kobe Bryant. So, I mean, we could just, Jane Fonda, Martha Stewart, Sylvester Stallone, Wycliffe, Jay-Z, Ryan Seacrest. Yay. Just kidding. So, I mean, I could just, Miley Cyrus. Everybody needs to be using WordPress blog because Miley Cyrus is using them, especially if you have a daughter like mine. No, I'm just kidding. But, okay, so now you can see the reason why. Now, this is actually a free WordPress blog that somebody set up. I don't know this person. I was just trying to do a quick search for realtors using this. And again, when I had to go 6, 7, 8 pages deep into the Google searches, I found this one. So again, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes trying to find something to show you guys, but that should be a warning right there. If I can't find somebody's site using the term realtor or real estate or homes for sale or whatever, and it's not coming up as a free WordPress blog, that means because there's plenty of realtors using the free platform and they're not showing up in the searches. So that should tell you something right there. So you can see it's not very professional. It's something that you can just throw up real quick. This is the free WordPress blogs that I do not recommend using.